Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to day one of the Joy Power Up. I'm so excited. I haven't been live in such a long time on any of the social media platforms, so this is something really new to me, and I'm very, very excited. I don't think I've done really very many lives since 2022, so I'm bringing the live back. I really wanted to come in and do some live experiences and really talk to you more about joy and why joy is such an important frequency, such an important feeling and an energy. Because in 2024, when I really focused, and I actually heard myself say at a lunch, I was down in London, I said, "Hi, I'm Ali, I'm a joy coach." I hadn't predetermined that. I just really opened up the doors to a new brand, and I was putting feelers out there to really find out for myself what I wanted to talk about and how I wanted to share my gifts, my knowledge, my experiences out into the world. And when I heard myself say joy coach, I was kind of like, I like the sound of that. Let's go and find out what that really means and how I can bring more joy to others. So I've really allowed myself to explore that in the last 18 months, and it's culminating in this power up, this 5-day joy power up, because I wanted to explain to you why joy, and then also just share a little bit more about what it is that I mean by a joy coach. Because I could have called myself, performance coach. I could have called myself a mindset coach. I could have called myself a life coach, relationship coach. I've been a health coach. I've been so many different types of coaches since I have been formally coaching in my life. And if you ask any one of my many clients, hundreds of clients that I've worked with privately or online, they will have all had a very different experience with me in terms of what they came to me for. But the outcome has always been joy. And I think I intuitively knew that when I said, "Hello, I'm a joy coach." But if you ask one person is going to say, "I came to Ali because my partner came to me and said that I no longer want to be with you." Or "I went to Ali because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to be with my partner, and I knew her journey and I knew I wanted to work with her." You ask somebody else and they've said, I wanted to take the leap from my company, my corporate life, into more of an entrepreneurial one, or into a different company. I wanted to be able to make my life whole, and I wasn't sure how to do that. And I wanted to work with Ali to understand how she does that, because I look at her and she looks like she's got the whole package, which I'm so grateful I do. Other people have come to me when they're going back to work after having had children, and they're really struggling with their body image and who they are. They feel lost as a person. So every single one of my clients who I've worked with over the last 7 years since I opened my coaching doors has had a very different journey, a very different experience or reason why they've come to work with me. And I really wanted to showcase some of that in this 5-day Power Up series so that you can find the missing piece to your joy. So talking about joy then, wherever you are in your journey, then this Power Up I wanted it to be something that you could come in and you could take if you were feeling like you had no joy at all, or very little joy. I wanted you to come and understand the recipe for joy. I love writing recipe. I love cooking. And I've always thought, what is that recipe for joy? And actually, when I started thinking about joy, I was like, what is my recipe for joy? I'm going to take you through what I believe the recipe for joy is. If you're somebody who's coming and you think, do you know what, everything is pretty good, I'm quite joyful, but do you know what would it be like if I could just have a little bit more joy? Because that was me, at the beginning of this year. I was like, oh my God, who am I to have all this joy and to want more joy? Who am I? And it was just recognizing that all I had to do was to look at my ingredients of joy and almost see them like dials, on the front of cookers, old-fashioned cookers, and they've got these knobs and twiddly knobs on the front. I was using one this weekend. We used one of our properties this weekend, and it had a different oven to my Argo, which is literally just open the door, shove something in. This oven had dials, and it made me realize that joy has dials. And where do you want to turn up the heat to increase your joy? You may have joy already, it's good, but you can amplify your joy. And what I've known and what I have experienced and what I believe to be true in the last 18 months, since really using joy as my focus, as my frequency, as my path, as the one thing that I really want to focus on, it has become the frequency, the highest frequency for attracting more of success on my terms. And maybe I should start there really. Success on my terms, what does that mean? What did that mean for me? And what does it mean for you? Maybe that's where you need to start as well. What's your definition of success? I walked out of my corporate career in 2014. Can't believe that's now 11 years ago. I walked out of my corporate career for many different reasons, and that will probably come out over the course of these series. But I walked out, and my success up until that point had been very much the checkbox exercise, everybody's criteria of success. My parents' criteria of success, I got the top grades in my A-levels. I went to a Russell Group university. I'd been promoted fast-tracked all the way through my corporate career. I was on big money. Had all the cars and everything, you know, the 2 children, the perfect marriage. I had everything until I didn't. And it was in that I was like, right, I want to redefine what my success is. And I took a piece of paper and a pen, and in 2014 I said, right, what is my definition of success? Gosh, that sunshine has just started to come in. Isn't that lovely? What is my definition of success? And I wrote down on my piece of paper, really without even thinking about it. It just became this thing that I wrote down, and it has become this path for me. I want to love what I do, and I want to love who I do it with, and I want to love myself. And I mean that in that I honor myself, and I love myself enough to really enjoy my life and to enjoy the work that I do. What do they say? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I feel so grateful that I get to call this work, and loving what you do with who you love. I get to choose who my clients are. I get to choose who my team are, and I have the most amazing team. I'm just gonna move that up so I don't look like I've got a very dark patch on me. Is that bad? There we go, sorry. I'm sat in front of a big window. So this definition of success became to me as like, okay, that's what I'm going to live by. That's where I'm going to come back to. Am I loving what I'm doing? Whether it's working out or whether it's work. Am I loving who I'm doing it with? And am I honoring myself when I'm doing it? Became so important for me. So that's why joy became this center point, the crux, the frequency that I came back to, because the more I honored my success and my success criteria, when I aligned with that love, aligning with loving what I do, loving who I do it with, and loving myself, I created a life of joy. And so when I said that I'm a joy coach back in 2024, that's ultimately what I've been helping people do, align people to love, to help them bring more joy in their life. And what I found in the last 18 months is that the more I focused on love and joy, and the more I live in joy and find the joy in every single day, I've amplified my joy. And in amplifying my joy, I've accelerated my success. Because more opportunities to do what I love to do have come my way. More people who I love to work with, whether they be clients or team or people or connections, have come my way. And I have felt more love for myself in the last 18 months since I ever have. From, you know, a recovering perfectionist and a recovering person with body dysmorphia. I don't know what you would call that, but it's this realization that dawned on me in the last month was just like, joy is the super attractor. Joy is the success strategy. Joy is, yes, thank you, Healthy Vibes in Australia. I don't know what your name is personally, but I think you're in the community chat. But yes, I've raised my vibration, because this is one of the other things I recognized in terms of the Hawkins scale, if you've ever come across that. And for those of you who are in the Love Club, you'll be able to watch through Manifesting as If by Magic. I take you through this incredible scale that was introduced to me called the Hawkins scale. Jenny, thank you. It's the Hawkins scale. And the Hawkins scale shows you how you can manifest through the quantum. And the energies of manifestation through the quantum are love, joy, peace, and abundance, and enlightenment. So if you can raise your vibration and hold yourself in that vibrational pattern around love and above, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, and abundance, that's when you can start to attract in from that quantum field. So it's all really fascinating. So that's why I wanted to come in and give you a joy power up. And I'm framing it around my recipe for joy. Now, I asked in the Love Club this morning, which is my membership, I asked them to go away and write me out their own definition of success and also their own recipe for the frequency that they want to live in, because that's ultimately what I did. When I recognized that joy was what I wanted to focus on, it was like, what is my recipe? How do I make joy? How do I feel joy? How do I experience joy? Because when you've got your own recipe, then it's very, very easy to make sure that you've got that in your life, that you're putting all of those ingredients in your life. And then once you've got it, that's when you can twiddle your knobs. Like I said at the beginning, you can turn up the heat on which one's missing. So over the course of the next 5 days, I'm going to take you through my recipe for joy so that you can ask, is this my recipe for joy? which one is missing, and where do I need to turn up the heat? Where do I need to put a little bit of focus on so that I can really amplify my joy? Because when I amplify my joy in listening to Ali, I know that this also accelerates my success. It is the super attractor for success. Joy is a super attractor. I am that evidence. I've gone wildly off track on my notes. I've just been riffing there, but that's where we're going to start. That's why we're doing this joy power up. So we've got 5 ingredients. Now, it was really interesting as I was collating all of the information that I wanted to bring forward and the stories and the information that I wanted to share with you over the next 5 days. I found in my drawer, because I keep all my little notes. When I worked with my very first coach, when I left my corporate career in 2014, she asked me, what do you want to do next, Ali? What is the kind of, like, if you could summarize it in one sentence, what is it that you want to do? And I still have the piece of paper that I wrote it on. Look, it's a really scratty little bit of paper. And it says, she said, I want you to write it down as if it's an affirmation. And I wrote down, I'm the inspiration that gives people hope and courage to change. I wrote that in 2014. And I've never really veered any way differently from that. And I love just coming and finding it in my drawer. And I wrote underneath it, I'm calm, I'm grounded, I'm present, and I have the vision to see it and the courage to do it. I have the vision to see joy and so many joyful people, hundreds of thousands of joyful people, and I've got the courage to keep on talking about joy. Even when people tell me joy is fluffy, I tell them no, joy isn't fluffy. Joy is the super attractor. Joy is the strategy. Joy is your power move, because joy is the energy that everybody wants you in the room. The energy of joy means people want to come and be with you, or they want to work with you because you're a pleasure to work with. This is what I have found. So joy is the most incredibly powerful connector and attractor. So I am the inspiration that gives people hope and courage. Now, if you're coming for top tips and if you're coming for happiness hacks, I used to love doing those in my Heal Yourself Happy Days, but that was the day before ChatGPT. And you can put anything into ChatGPT and get to yourself a lovely list of top tips and tricks and things that you can do. But I also know that many of my clients and the people that I work with, they know what to do. They're just not doing it. So I suppose that what I wanted to bring to these power-ups was really it wasn't just to give you the top tips and the hacks, but to give you the inspiration to make that change, to show you that I have been in places that I found it very, very hard to do something. I want to tell you the stories where I have found that courage to do something even when it felt hard, so that you can see the inspiration, have the inspiration, that you have the evidence, that you can take the action that you know you already need to do. You don't need me to tell you what to do, because I know that I'm talking to incredibly talented, brilliant women who know what they need to do in their areas of their life that's going to really make them happy, but they're just really got this block or this resistance in order to do it. And I want to show you and tell you the stories of how you can move through this so that you can have and take that inspired action, because you have been inspired by the stories that I'm going to tell you, so that you can make those changes, so that you can really amplify your joy and know that you will have the results that you want. So that was rather a long-winded introduction to the power up. I'm going to start with day 1. We're going to start with ingredient 1, and we're going to go over the course of the next 4 days. I will be dropping in here live in Instagram. I would love to be able to tell you the times that I'm going to be doing this. But in my human design, I have this incredible channel, which is the line 5 to 15, which is the channel of rhythm. And it's more about knowing the time and knowing the timing. So I love to just go, right, I'm ready now to come in and speak and share this. I know that this is the right time. So there will be some vague times. So what I suggest you do is that if you're finding me and you're not following me already, follow me, hit that little bell button so that whenever I go live, you'll come on, watch my stories. I will at the beginning of the day tell you when I'm going. I have to keep my diary pretty fluid and flexible, because my brilliance clients, my one-to-one private clients, they need the flexibility. They have moving calendars just as much as I have. So I need to keep that open for them so they have that flexibility. But I always know in the morning when I'm going to have that space and that time. So I'll let you know on stories, put your bells on. If you're signed up, please do sign up, because I'll send you reminders as well. And you're going to get all of the replays as well. If you can't watch and stay and watch the whole live, you're going to get the replays. And also you get to come in and have private conversations with me. I've opened up a Telegram channel where if you want to come in and get some personalized coaching, if there's something that I've said in one of these lives that you want to have a discussion about, if you want me to help you understand, if you want me to mentor and coach you through a particular resistance or a block or a scenario, then that's why I've opened up this channel. That will remain open until the 10th of October, and we can have that discussion with you. So that said, let's go with number one. And it's quite funny because this weekend I've woken up with a full-blown cold from James, thanks to James. And I laugh because the first ingredient, I believe, to having joy is the health of your body. I don't know about you, but when you've got aches, pains, or illness, it's very, very hard to feel happy or particularly joyful. And this is a foundational key ingredient. You need the health of your body. And you might be rolling your eyes and going, oh God, Ali's going to talk about health. Yes, I am. It's so important. It's so important. Speaking from somebody who's lost their health, you know, their mental health and their physical health. When I had my annus horribilis and I lost all of it, including the health of my body. I had PTSD, clinical depression, I had insomnia, and I had disordered eating. My body was not fit for purpose. And that's so important for us as women in this day and age, when we have so many responsibilities, when we're here to look after our children, when we look after our families, when we're here to look after our homes, our elderly and aging parents, when we have teams to look after. We have so much, and animals, goodness gracious, I've had to look mine in my cage today. But we have so many as parents, as children, as partners, as colleagues, as peers, as leaders. You know, we're also often the social secretary as well. There is so much responsibility that we take on as women that if our body is not fit for purpose to do that, then things start to fall apart. Now, the question I want to ask you today, and I'm going to ask a question every single day, and you'll get the reminder in the email for you to consider. The key question here is, what's on your plate? I ask myself as well, what's on my plate? And I don't just mean the plate that you're going to have when you sit down to every single meal. I mean, what is on your plate? So many people say, I have so much on my plate. I have so much on my plate. And it's true, you do have so much on your plate. And it's by having so much on your plate that sometimes we fail to look after the one thing that's the most important thing on our plate, and that's us. Why does it matter? Our health matters because our health supports us in our mission, in what we want to achieve, whether that be in a career, whether that be in a business, whether that be to look after your children, whether that be to look after a team, whether it be to grow a huge conglomerate of a business. The health of you is so important, and I don't just mean the physical, I mean the holistic health, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. Yes, the physical, the emotional, the social, the financial, all of these elements of our physical health is so important. It's such an important priority. I'm just going to have to blow my nose. Excuse me one second. I just come off screen so you don't see me. Thank you. Where was I? We were talking about health. It's so important to have that physical health in our body so that we feel that we've got the energy and the clarity and the focus and the confidence. Now, the health of our bodies is often a topic of conversation when I work with my brilliance clients, my one-to-one clients. It's always, not necessarily always the number one, but it always comes up. They might be coming in to talk to me because they've got a lot going on, whether that be in their private life that they don't want to take into their professional life, or whether they've got a lot going on in their professional life. It's causing them huge anxiety that they don't want to take it into their personal life. But it always comes up about the body. There's always an element of conversation of looking at themselves and saying, I've let myself go. I'm not happy with the way I look. I'm disappointed when I look in the mirror. I don't like it. I've let myself go. I haven't been able to let go of the baby weight. I'm really worried about the menopause. I've got this menopause belly. People are judging me. I've got an important message to say. When I stand up in that boardroom, I don't want people to be thinking about the fact that my skirt's too tight or I haven't looked after myself. I don't want to come on screen and do the Zooms. I don't want to come on and do Instagram Lives because I'm so worried that people are going to be judging the way I look or the way I sound. I want them to listen to me, not to be looking at me and judging me. And here's the thing, the majority of people won't be doing that at all. They won't be judging you. It's you who's judging you and almost projecting what you think of you onto them. So it's about understanding you and how you take care of yourself and how you look after yourself, and that comes from how you see yourself. Now, I saw that so clearly when I remember when I mean, I struggled with body dysmorphia all my life, but probably from conditioning from my parents, and I love them, by the way, but it really stemmed from there. But I remember when I was very poorly and I was very ill, and I was probably about a size 0 or a 6, very thin, I was skeletal. And I still looked in the mirror and I thought that I was fat. I could hear myself, "You're still so fat and you're still so ugly." And I realised then that it didn't matter what I did in terms of the health of my physical body, it was more to do with the mental and emotional feeling I had about my body. It was so interesting because it's very similar to my recognition, on the same day as my recognition of that, I saw my youngest son, and I think it was his birthday, and he just had some new clothes, and he was standing in front of the mirror going, "You're so cool, you look hot, you look great." And I was like, I've got to be more Willie. I've got to be more like that. I've got to be able to look in the mirror and say, "You look great, you look fantastic." Because if I look fantastic and if I think I'm great, I'm going to look after myself as well. It becomes this cyclical process of, I think I'm great, I want to look after myself, I'm here for this one life, and I'm going to do that. And this is when everything started to change, and I started to look after myself. Because I knew that if I looked after myself, if I looked at myself with love, then I knew that other people would do the same. I wasn't going to be judging. If I wasn't doubting myself, then others weren't going to doubt me either. I think it's also very important to make the point that I've also come to realise that, and especially in a very corporate environment, first impressions matter. They do. Whether that's online, whether that's in a Zoom like this, excuse me, or whether you're standing up in a boardroom, whether you realise it or not, there's something in our subconscious that will look at someone and know whether they're the right person to be looking after our business account, or whether they're going to be the right person to work with. That first impression really does matter. So it's so important, no matter where you are or what you're doing, to look after your body, to look after it. Do I look like I care for myself? I think that's really important. I've been working with a wonderful client. She's just taken on an incredible role. She's taking a massive job. And we've been talking very much about how she looks. And she's in her 50s and she's not happy with her body. And I said, you know what, it's not about the size of your body at all, the physical size. It's how you take care of it. Do you look like someone who takes care of themselves? Are you brushing your hair? Do you have your own unique sense of style? Are you looking like your skin is glowing? Are you looking like you're nourishing yourself, holding yourself? It's that first impression. It's not about the number on a scale, and it's not the size of your dress clothes. It's, do you look like you take care of yourself? Did you take the time to look after yourself before you came into that meeting or went on live today? It's about adorning your body. It is about looking like you really take care of yourself, feeding yourself those good foods. And if this is something that you need the reminder of how to do in terms of looking after your body, I'm not going into that today because I think you probably know that, but if you do need it, in my Love Club library, which is my membership where I have all of the programs that I have written, recorded, and trainings that I have led in the last 7 years, and there's 2 or 3 brilliant ones in there that look after the health of yourself. In lockdown, I recorded a program with my dear friend Tiff, who was on the podcast last week, and we recorded a 4-week program talking about what you can do to look after the 4 elements of your body. It's all about looking after what is actually on your plate. What are you eating? How are you nourishing your body? How are you moving your body? How are you resting and sleeping your body? I like to call them the 3 E's. It's eat, exercise, and easy does it. And that easy does it is the rest and the sleep. You know that. They're the key pillars of health that every single person online who's talking about health is doing. But you're not doing it. Why is it important? Why does it matter to you? Is it that first impression, or is it longevity? For me, it was all about longevity. It was about, I want to be able to look after my body so that I'm here for a very long time. My mum died far too early, and that's when I got very interested in health on a holistic level. She had Alzheimer's, and what I realised is it was the health of my gut and the health of my brain went hand in hand. And it was so important for me to look after both of those so that I could be around for my children and my grandchildren, because my mum's not here. And that was a real clincher for me. It was making sure I took care of my physical body as well as my mental and emotional body as well. Many of my clients come to me because health is one of the key contributing factors that they're not happy, they're not joyful. They're working so hard Yes, they love their job, and yes, they want to generate a great income that supports a lifestyle, but sometimes it's at the detriment of their health. That part of it has been squeezed out. So how do we bring the joy back? How do you bring the joy back to looking in the mirror? How do you bring the joy back to what you've got on your plate? That's what is on your plate. And can you put yourself on your plate too? Can you put your health as a priority on your plate? Along with all of the other things that you have to do, and you are prioritizing. You are prioritizing your children. You are prioritizing your work. Are you prioritizing you? Put yourself on your plate. Make it an important, non-negotiating factor, because without it, it's really hard. It's going to be hard for you to feel that joy. The joy comes when your body, and you know that your body is going to be able to look after you and support you in feeling alive. And feeling alive is that joy, in my opinion. My body's got me. I know it has. It's going to enable me to do all the things that I want to be able to do in this life. And that is joy. It's that real joy. One of the things that has been a huge shift for me was when I realized, and I can be incredibly disciplined and I can be incredibly dedicated. We were talking about this over supper with my son this weekend. Is yes, discipline and yes, dedication is so important when it comes to looking after yourself. But what I've realized for myself and with many of the women that I work with is that dedication and discipline can get you so far. It will help you get there, but can you keep it? Is it sustainable to just keep on beating yourself up? To me, discipline and dedication felt a bit like a stick that I had to do, that I should do, that I must do. Whereas when I shifted into a more softer gear, this one of devotion, I'm devoted to looking after my physical body so that I can feel alive with joy every single day, so that I can turn up and do the things that I want to do and feel good when I'm doing them. And I can trust in my body that's going to support me. Devotion was the energy that enables me to make it sustainable. Devotion is what allows me to put me on my plate every single day. And when I'm on my plate, I can look after everybody else that's on my plate. So I'm going to just draw this to a little bit of a wrap up. I'm going to leave you with that question. What's on your plate and are you on it? Have a look and see if that's one of the ingredients that's missing in your recipe for joy. Have a look and see if that's one of the dials that you need to turn up in order for you to have more joy. And if it's something that you want to work more on, or you want to become more devoted to, or if you want to put more focus on it, please come in and join me in the Telegram channel. Let me answer your questions. Tell me what your blockers are, and I would love to help you unblock those. And if you want to take a more intentional step in terms of actions and really prioritize putting yourself on your plate, then there's a couple of options that you can do as well. I wanted to showcase a few of the ways in which you can work with me as well through this series. So open and honest, I am going to share about the offers that I have. I give a lot of free content out here on the internet, but I also want to invite you to come a bit closer if you want to make it a little bit more personalized. The Love Club, I've mentioned that a couple of times now. The Love Club is my membership. It's very low value. It's only £22 a month, but it's super high in value in terms of what you get. You get all of my programs and trainings, and the ones that you would really want to focus on when you come into the Love Club. You want to look at the Lean for Life program. You want to look at 2 Days to Happy Belly, which is the reset that I give my gut to make sure that it's really super strong and really important for boosting our immunity, especially at this time of the year. If you're really going through the perimenopause and the menopause, then I wrote a program called HRT Cubed, which takes you through my health reset techniques. It takes you through how I made the decisions around taking HRT, but then also how I looked after myself in terms of my emotions and my feelings as I was going through HRT. So that's all in the Love Club. I'm also opening up my master course. It's a master course and also a mastermind combined, really. And it's called Joy in HD, and I'm opening up the doors to that in the middle of October. We start on the 3rd of October. Now, this really is an incredible program, because while I amplified my joy focus in 2024, One of the other things that I also did was to take my human design. I was gifted my human design in 2021 by some coaches that I was working with. And I still have that piece of paper. And I was like, yes, that makes so much sense. I understand me a lot more. But it was in 2024 when I decided to go with joy as my compass, as my path to walk. I got out my human design again. And I was like, right, if I look at this through the lens of joy and use my human design as my energetic map to help me create more joy, I did. It was this guide, this roadmap, this chart to help me. So in Joy in HD, we have this huge focus on how we can bring more joy into your life using your energetic DNA, your human design. If you haven't heard about human design, please find me in my DMs and I'd love to tell you more. But really it's this chart to understanding your energetic DNA. But through the program of Joy in HD, not only do I teach you how you can understand and interpret your own human design, but we can put a real focus in on your health, because every single part of your human design and every single one of your chakras is also related to a part of your body. And I found it so fascinating that when I understood that I have a defined throat and that every 3 months during my corporate career towards the end, I was getting bronchitis and I was getting sore throats and tonsillitis, it was because I wasn't speaking my truth. The throat chakra is all about expression of self. It's all about manifestation. I was living in a manifestation of a life that I wasn't happy in. And once I started to speak my truth, I didn't get sore throats anymore. So it's absolutely a fascinating concept. It's masterminding. It's human design, but it's also the opportunity to be coached by me through anything to do with your health, to do with relationships, to do with business. It's a whole holistic approach, and it's masterminding as well. And then there's also Brilliance. Brilliance is my one-to-one private mentorship offer, and this is where you get all of me at any point in time. This is focusing on your success criteria, on your joy, everything on your terms. And this is where we do it one-to-one. One of my clients recently said to me, she said, everyone relies on me. I'm responsible for every single person in my life. Who gets to hold me? And I said, me. That's why you're here. I'm that private confidant to the brilliant women who join me in private mentorship. They have a lot going on in their lives and they don't want to compromise their corporate career because they've got stuff going on in their private lives. And they don't want to bring their private lives into their corporate careers, and they don't want to bring what's going on into their boardrooms, into their bedrooms, because that is just not conducive for a really beautiful relationship. And we get to talk about confidence in the body as well. And that's private mentorship. So there are 3 ways in which you can access more joy with me in those 3 ways. Now, if you're signed up, you're going to get this on a replay. You'll have all of the links, and do come in and join me in the Telegram channel. What's on your plate? And are you on it? Because putting you and your health and the health of your body on your plate is vital if you want to amplify your joy. Is this your missing ingredient? Is this the dial that needs to be turned up? I look forward to continuing the conversation in the Telegram channel. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow. I think the time is 2, but I will check and I'll put it in stories and it will be in your emails. Lots of love.